Welcome back to the Pursuit of Accuracy. I'm Josh, and today in this video we're going to talk about 5 reasons why the CZ457 is better than the ultra expensive Remington 700 clone custom rimfires out there. Oh! The same cold. Oh! Freaking Joker. Oh, you hit it. And fear not, Remington 700 clone owners, I am one of you. I've had Voodoos, Rimexes, I have Curtis, I have all sorts of custom guns. There are obviously redeeming qualities. We're going to talk about that at the end. But before we do, there are 5 very good reasons to buy a CZ457, even if you're trying to compete at the highest levels. Now, to kick this list off, the first thing we're going to talk about is price. Now, these are available in mom and pop shops, and you can buy something like this MTR, or you can get an American. So you can spend anywhere between $500 and $1,500 and get a full-blown rifle. Now, of course, if you're spending $500, don't expect the performance. And even as you get up there in $1,500, I find that the factory CZ guns do need a little bit of help if you're trying to compete at a super high level. But for an entry-level price into the game, something you could definitely shoot NRL 22 with and succeed with, that price of $500 to $1,500 is very hard to beat in comparison to full-blown Remington 700 clone and custom guns. All right, so number 2 is going to be availability. Now, there are a ton of custom actions and guns out there. You know, we're talking about things like the Rimex, the Voodoos, the MPAs, the Curtises, but those things are not readily available. In some cases, you can only buy just the action. So in the case of the Rimex, you're going to have to buy the action, source a barrel, have it gunsmith, and even the full-blown rifles, like the full-built ones, Voodoo, MPA, those usually have a substantial lead time. You're going to have to wait on premium barrel blanks to become available, and you can't just run down to most stores and buy one like you can a CZ457. So being 2025 and things going crazy in the market and rimfire still continuing to expand, there's something to be said about being able to run down to the mom and pop shop, buy a CZ457, and not have to worry about a 6-month lead time. And pull this behemoth up. This is a CZ457 and has nothing to do with number 3, because number 3 is magazines, although we're going to come back to this and it's going to be really important for number 4 and 5. So magazines. One, CZ457 magazines are generally available all the time, either through L3I. The stock ones are hit or miss. They're in and out of stock. NDR, there's a bunch of companies making magazines, and these billet magazines are what I'm going to talk about the most. Of course, you can run the polymers. I do. I have extensions on them. They work fine, and they are pretty cheap. But these billet ones you can buy, and again, they're going to be billet. They're going to be 10, 13, 15 round magazines. And the biggest thing is they're cheaper than Remington 700 magazines. So Remington 700 AICS pattern 22 mags are much more expensive, especially when you're talking apples to apples. So you get a 10, 15 rounder that's billet, you're talking pretty big money, usually north of $100 to get something like this. Where on the other end of the spectrum, for 70, 80 bucks, you can get the CZ457 mags, also billet, also extended capacity, and they work really well. Another deal about these magazines is this is for magazines. You can literally take a match's worth of magazines loaded to the match and stick them in your cargo pocket. They're small, they're light, you can stick them on the side of the rifle for fast reloads. You can do all sorts of things. A lot of people don't like these because they're small, but that's a huge advantage because, like I said, you can transport these super easily. They're not as expensive. You can literally buy 10, load them out, never load a magazine during the stage of a match, which is pretty cool. Now, in comparison, 4 mags here, We'll take this down to 3. Now, let's compare 3 AICS magazines. You're going to have to get a big old honking belt holder. These things weigh a lot more. If you're carrying around 4 or 5 of them, you know, just forget it. You've added 10 pounds. If you want to carry a match's worth, 10 magazines of these, 1, that's a lot of money. 2, that's a lot of weight. 3, that's a whole lot of bulk. So advantage to the CZ because, heck, they're just small and convenient, which brings us into number 4. These are not in order of precedence because this is probably the most important thing to some of you guys is reliability. I would say that the CZ457, for what it does, for what it's capable of, is the most reliable platform on the market. The magazines are super easy to get. They just don't have a lot of problems. They're very well done. The ignition, the bolt setup, very simple, but very effective and very trouble-free. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact of how the magazine interfaces. On a CZ and a traditional rimfire, the magazine interfaces with the actual barreled action of the actual rifle itself. So when I put this mag in and clip it in, it wouldn't matter if I had a stock on here or not. So that is going to tenfold your reliability because there's never an issue. This magazine always interfaces to the rifle, never to the stock. So generally you don't see people having issues. On the other hand, when you're talking Remington 700s, AICS pattern magazines, these magazines actually index to the stock or the chassis. So as you change stocks, chassis, rifles, these magazines have to be played with, the height has to be set because they are interfacing off of that stock or that chassis, and that is going to change. And that is what a lot of people struggle with Remington 700 clone rimfires is reliability of feeding. If you can't get that bullet reliably in there, then you're going to have problems. So number 5, and probably an ultimate factor, is overall cost of ownership. Is this full-blown CZ457 custom kind of setup going to be half the price of a custom Remington 700? No, obviously not. But consider this. Most of the time when you buy a CZ457 chassis, it's going to be a little bit cheaper. The triggers are going to be a little bit cheaper. The magazines are a little bit cheaper. The pre-fit barrels, this is a Muller Works from Modicam Custom Rifles. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than a pre-fit or a custom job from something like a custom Remington 700. Also consider the fact there are a ton of companies supporting CZ457. There's a ton of pre-fits out there, and they're really, really great pre-fits. L3i, Modicam. I mean, there's a dozen. There's probably more that I don't even know of. There will be more that come onto the scene. But this is absolutely something that you can build without a gunsmith, and that's going to be important for some people, whether you're impatient or whether your favorite gunsmith is a year or 2 years behind. You can build something ultra competitive at home without it ever going to a gun ship because there are so many good pre-fits, and generally, again, the price all in of these is going to be less. Another really great thing is this is kind of a build to scale platform, meaning you could have a CZ457 MTR like this. You could throw a barrel on it in the spring, you shoot it all summer. In the wintertime, you decide, you know what, I really love the platform, the barrel's shooting great, I have great shooting ammo, let me go ahead and get a chassis. You get a chassis, you throw that together, you shoot that for a year and you decide, you know what, I think I like a heavier profile barrel, I think it's going to balance better, and you buy a pre-fit barrel. But the point is that everything here can be scaled. So you can buy a factory MTR, factory American, whatever is available, and shoot it. And then you can slowly upgrade that over time. You don't have to spend the $4,000 to $5,000 entry fee to get a full-blown custom rifle. You can kind of spend a little bit less over a longer duration of time and have something that you can shoot the entire time. So having said that, that is the 5 reasons why I think that CZ457s are better than custom setups. Now, of course, there are advantages to custom rifles. This is my MCR RIM-X. It's in an MDT ACC Elite. And of course, having a Remington 700 clone custom setup like this, one, is going to give me a really crazy nice action. Now, I know that that doesn't have like a specific dollar amount tied to it, a percentage in performance, but the custom stuff just feels so dang nice. Another thing is compatibility. If you're shooting a big gun, a centerfire rig, it's probably based off a Remington 700. Now you can have a rimfire that mimics that. You have those AICS pattern magazines I complained about, so your mag holders work. If you run a specific trigger, a Trigger Tech, a Bixen Andy, whatever, it's going to work. It's a Remington 700 trigger. The chassis that you shoot on your big gun, maybe it's an MDT ACC Elite, maybe it's a Vision Pro, whatever it is, if it's Remington 700 inletted, then your rimfire is going to go in that. So you can build a one-for-one replica, and that is why some guys shoot rimfire. It's a cheaper trainer for their centerfire rigs, and I totally understand that. So I'm not making this video to say that you have no standing or reason to buy these rifles. Obviously, I own 4 or 5 of them right now. I will always own them. I love these rifles. These are amazingly well made. They are a joy to shoot, but they are unnecessary for probably 70 or 80% of people out there, especially if you are new to this, just getting into this. And honestly, I make this video because I know guys that are new who have the money and they go and buy something like this. And then things just don't happen the way they should in rimfire. You have lot testing. There are things to overcome no matter how much money you spend. And you see guys spend a lot of money, get into the sport, get discouraged, and get out. You don't see that quite as often for guys who spend less money to get into it, like the CZ457. So that's kind of why I'm making this video. There's no reason to jump into these if you don't have to. The CZ457 is going to be ultra competitive. And to be quite honest with you, out of all the rifles I have, the CZ457 full custom setup that I've kind of built up to is just as accurate as these rifles. Is the action quite as nice? No. But performance-wise, at a match, it balances the same, it shoots the same, it's very accurate, it's not holding me back at all. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If I didn't hit any of the points that you maybe thought were ultra important about it, maybe you think I'm totally wrong, that there's no universe where anything on a 457 is better than one of these full custom rigs. And again, guys, this is just provocative thought. These are just my opinions. It's not right or wrong. I've been wrong more than I've been right in this game, but we're all learning, so I'm happy to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. Maybe I'll learn something, but I appreciate you guys watching. Catch you on the next one.